All right. We're recording. Let's see if we're going to go live. All right. We're going live, I believe, right now on Facebook. We're recording on Zoom and we're streaming into YouTube. This is another installment of Get a Clue in 52. Okay, very cool. I always got to mute the YouTube stream in the background so I don't hear it in my head. Welcome, everyone. Hello. And let me say right away, hello to Siraj, who has joined us right off the bat, my new friend and I guess what mentee. I'm just going to say friend. And we'll get into the rest later. But this is Get a Clue in 52. This is where every Sunday night I come on board and I read one of my 52 tips. My tips are organized 5 categories. Unlike my good friend Vipul Dayal, whose categories are organized chronologically, mine are categorical or a topical or categorical organizational pattern. We started this year with 10 tips in communication, and then we moved on to the 12 tips of marketing, another 10 tips in networking, and now we're in sales. This is tip number 8 tonight in the sales section and tip number 40 overall. So when you count the 52 tips that I did last year in 2020 in the first edition of the book, plus the 40 tips this year in the second edition of the book, that's 92 consecutive weeks that I've been coming to you. And it's great. It's just, there's no smoke, there's no mirrors, there's no, special lighting or camera or, advanced production technique or aesthetic or anything like that. I just open up the Zoom on a Sunday night, regardless of what, sometimes I'm coming up the golf course or I've been watching football with buddies or mourning the 1-year anniversary of the loss of my mom as I was last week. Or today it was coming out of the movie theater with my daughter, 14-year-old daughter, and we watched Dear Evan Hansen, which I had seen on Broadway, the Broadway version in San Diego. And, I'm just sitting there crying the whole time, just imagining what the kids are going through these days. And just my heart goes out to everybody that's having a tough time. Nobody is alone. Nobody's alone. Talk to people, ask people how they're doing, on and on and on. So to the heart of the matter tonight, Get a Clue in 52. Hello, for those of you that are watching on Facebook. Hello, Patty, who's joining us as she consistently does. There's a friendly face. Oh, man. Josiah is always going to bring color and positive vibration to anything he attends. So my hat's off to you, Josiah. Unexpected. I didn't know that I would see you here, but I'm happy to see you here. And we're going to open it up to group conversation, whatever you guys want to talk about tonight after I read tonight's tip. Let me go ahead and get into it right away so that we can move closer, or more quickly, I should say, to the group interaction, which should be wonderful. Now, like I said, we're in the sales section right now. We're going to finish the year with accountability. I can't wait for accountability. It's like my favorite topic in the world. And I'm always playing the integrity game now. And integrity is a matter of accountability, or accountability is a matter of integrity, right? It cuts both ways. Tonight's tip, 2 more tips, and then we'll get into accountability. Let's go ahead and review the sales section, the 7 tips we've covered so far. And then we'll go ahead and get into tonight's word for word reading, and then any conversation that may ensue. All right. So reviewing tips from the sales section, that starts on page 80. And tip number 1 is to build rapport. Building rapport is more than just going into somebody's office, noticing like a picture of a fishing trip and saying, "Oh, you like to fish? I do too. We're in rapport now, right? What credit card do you want to put this on?" That's not rapport. It takes more work than that. A lot more skill, technique, and effort. All right. Tip number 2. Let's assume that you do know how to build rapport. And if you want to know more about building rapport, contact me. We can go deeper on this stuff in one-on-ones or in group mentoring or in pre-recorded courses that I've created on the Clueberry. But let's assume you've built rapport. Now, tip number 2 is you want to diagnose. We want to be careful about the word diagnose because we're not doctors, but we did have a good night's sleep last night, right? So anyway, discovery, or the word that comes to mind so often when I think of this tip is agreement. We want to get agreement with the other person on what they want to work on, what they're willing to work on. Even if it's not what they really, really need, if it's what they want, let's see if we can give them that so that we can get closer to helping them get what they really, really need. But there needs to be agreement. If there's disagreement on what they need, what they want, what you think they need, what you think they want, what they think they need, what they think they want, if they want is what they need, or if they need is what they want. If any of that is incongruent, you're going to have a harder time making the sale. All right. I digress. Thank you for the smiles there. Thank you. Thank you. Tip number 3. Oh, Charlie's coming on board. We've got a nice little fun little crew tonight. This is good. All right. And it's warm in San Diego. Is anybody else warm, or is it just me? All right. Number 3, let's assume you've done the job building rapport. Let's assume you've got agreement on what the person wants or needs or wants, right? Tip number 3 is get leverage, which is really like, how bad do you want it? Do you want it bad enough to pay for it, to invest in it, to work for it, to earn the ROI on the investment? There's so many people in personal professional growth, in the seminar industry, the event space, that invest a lot of money in stuff. And it's not the stuff's fault that you're not making money with the stuff that you bought, right? Nothing works unless you do. Charlie, did you write that one down? Write it down already. Patty, I'm going to ask you for the Kluby snack we came up with earlier in the week, but I'm just going to get it going right away. Oh, God, this is just wonderful. You guys, Dr. T-Bone is in the house. I'm going to say hello to Terrence Gauthier, who's coming on board. I'm going to make these introductions. I'm not even done reviewing the tip, but this is exciting kind of audience tonight. This is really cool. Charlie, you got it? Nothing works unless you do. Fair? Got it? You with me?
Coach.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is I'm reviewing tip number 3, which is to get leverage. It's like, okay, if I know who you are, and okay, if I know what I think you want, and okay, if you know what you think you want, and if we agree on what you want and need and want, need, right? Now, it's not enough to just agree on what the object of the sale is. It's, well, how bad? Do you want it bad enough to finance it, to move stuff around, to make sacrifices, to stop going to Starbucks? How bad do you want what you want, right? What's happening, Dr. T-Bone? Hats off to you. I'm doing a review of the tips, then I'll read tonight's tip, and then we'll have open group conversation, which is awesome. All right, so just to review again, tip number 1 is build rapport in sales section. Tip number 2 is diagnose, but you want that agreement to move forward. And then how bad? Leverage. Leverage is getting somebody emotionally associated to the pleasure or pain of taking or not taking action. What have you missed out on? What are you missing out on? What will you miss out on if you don't get this, if you don't invest in this? Right? What does it cost you in the past? What's it costing you now? What's it going to cost you in the future if you don't move forward? And a lot of things, like I'd rather sell a need than a want. You know what I'm saying? I would much rather sell a need than a want. Does that make sense? And it's easy for me to argue that personal professional growth is a need. It is a need. All right. Anyway, I'll move on. Tip number 4, drop the SME, not like drop it, like drop the mic, right? Or drop the pen after I've taken notes, or drop the dry erase marker after I've totally gone off on a whiteboard, which I like to do. All right. No whiteboard is safe when I'm in that. Anyway, SME is subject matter expertise. At some point, you're going to have to let your prospect know that you know what you're doing. You know your stuff at some point. But a lot of bad salespeople, they make the mistake of starting with dropping their SME, and they haven't built rapport or diagnosed or gotten leverage. So they're talking into a want, rather than speaking into earned listening. Charlie, there's another one. Would you rather speak into an echo chamber or speak into earned listening? It's a rhetorical question because we all know the answer is the latter. Thank you, Josiah. I love seeing that smile on your face. Oh, this is cool. I can't wait to introduce everybody. This is exciting for me. Charlie, that's 2. Yeah? Okay. And Charlie's like our scribe, our recorder, our historian for Kluby Snacks. I'm going to take my hat off to Charlie again here in a minute, but I got to get through reviewing the tips and read tonight's tip. All right. And by the way, here's a whiteboard there's a whiteboard that was not safe when I dropped my SME all over it. Okay. I digress. On page number 88, tip number 5 is know your 1s, 2s, and 3s. What a key piece of content this is. Every single 100% of the people that you prospect are going to be a 1, a 2, or a 3. So our job is to figure out as quickly as we can, are we talking to a 1? Are we talking to a 2? Or are we talking to a 3? Because they're different people, we have different goals for each. So the sooner we figure out who they are, the quicker we can get to the work of addressing the right concern and getting them to the place they need to be. A 3, we need to end the conversation as quickly and gracefully as possible. No hard feelings, right? I'm not mad that you don't want to buy from me if you're not bad that I'm not going to keep talking to you about this. You're like, can we just agree that I'm going to talk to the people that do want to buy from me? No hard feelings, right? And that leaves us ones and twos, right? And the twos, they have at least one concern that's keeping them from going forward. So your job is to address that concern, any other concerns they have, and get them to say yes to anything that moves them forward, knowing, trusting, believing in yourself that if they say yes to one thing, get a great experience, they're going to say yes to more. Small yeses lead to big yeses. Great experiences lead to repeat and refer customers, right? So your goal isn't to sell them the 60,000 gazillion $1 million VIP package, right? For a two. Your job is to identify and address their concerns and then get them to move forward in any way that's safe and comfortable for them so that they can be wowed and aha'd and boomed and all the stuff that some of you on the line have heard about, the experiences that try to get created at events to make sure that people are in that state of mind to buy. Now, a one, those are fewer and further between. They have no concerns. They want to buy. They've got the credit card in hand. They're ready to go, spring loaded like a mousetrap, ready to go. And your job is to sell them as much as you can. That still makes sense for them. So shame on you if you don't have your VIP package ready. It's not their fault. It's your, right? You got to have it ready to go. And you got to diagnose, right? You got to build rapport, diagnose, get leverage. Drop your subject matter expertise so they understand everything that they can get from you. Suraj, are you paying attention? Right? And I'm going to introduce Suraj and everybody else in a minute. But Suraj is on the path. He's not just getting coaching, but mentoring. Suraj wants to do what myself and other coaches he respects have done. So you, Suraj, everybody else that's here might apply this a little bit differently, but I want you to apply it like from the mentoring perspective, right? Like I want to do exactly what Jeff's saying, right? And understand exactly what he's saying. You're going to make it all your own. You follow? But these are fundamentals. Like we put the fun back in the fundamentals on Get a Clue in 52. Here we are, Sunday night. So tip number 6 in the sales section was develop multiple calls to action, right? You want to have a place to send everybody, right? And you want even the threes, even the people, right? Even if the three, like the call to action for a 3, remember I said you want to dismiss them as immediately, but gracefully. And hey, is it all right if I set a reminder on my calendar to call you in 6 months and see if everything is still the same for you or if anything has changed? In 6 months, if nothing has changed in your situation, would you like to hear from me? Because I'll set the appointment in my calendar. That's a call to action. I'm getting their permission to call them back, but I've moved them away from my immediate bandwidth. Do you guys understand what I'm getting at? Right? Okay. And a 2 is like, you know what? You have some concerns that you want addressed. And why don't we do 2 comp sessions? You can make a recording of those. You could play them for your wife and your business partner. And then before you come back for the second comp session, would that be a great place for us to move forward? You guys understand what I'm getting at? Right. And then multiple calls to action and multiple price points, right? If you guys go to the Klubrary.com, the Klubrary, KLU, right, TheKlubrary.com, you'll see stuff on there for free, for $19, for $49, for $197, for $497. You got all kinds of different stuff there, right? Does that make sense? Not everybody is ready for 12 sessions with me or 2 full days with me, right? But they might be ready to do a $19 smart goal setting course that they can self-pace themselves through. Right? You want multiple calls to action. Maybe they just want to get a $20.20 book on Amazon.com called Get a Clue. I'm sorry. All right, I joke. The next tip I want to review is what we covered. Thank you for the smiles. You guys make me very happy when you smile at my silliness. So tip number 7 is KISS. Keep it simple, salesperson. That's right. We've all heard it said another way. Thank you, Josiah. We've all heard it said another way, but we just don't need to use unnecessary words. Keep it simple, salesperson. And sometimes I don't because I'm so excited about this. I'm so passionate about what I do. Sometimes I just go off. I just tangent along. And so I love when people say, I get it, got it, briefcase, got it. I love when people rein me in. Don't think you're offending me if you rein me in a little bit, because I know who I am and what I'm doing. Now, that brings us to tonight's tip, which is tip number 8 in the sales section, tip number 40 overall this week. And I'm going to go ahead and dedicate this tip to the Dr. T-Bone, because if you have a copy of the book and you go to the dedication section, there's like a lot of people that I've dedicated this book to. And Dr. T-Bone is in there. So let me go ahead back. I've read this at the beginning of the year, probably like the 13th week of the year, but I'm going to read it again to Dr. T-Bone. Oh, doctor, what a huge burden it can be to mean so much to another human being. Thanks for willingly sharing that burden with me. Hashtag Klubone. So that's my man. I don't know where he is on your screen, but he's in my lower right-hand corner. T-Bone, hats off to you. My best friend since the age of 14 years old. Means a lot to me that he's here tonight, the doctor. All right, tip number 8, feeling great. Tip number 40 overall. Understand DISC and motivators. On page 94. I could have said understand behavioral styles / pursuits, but I chose to say DISC motivators because those are the names of the assessments I conduct for all new clients. The motivators assessments lets me know what someone feels life is the pursuit of, what gets them out of bed or off the couch, and what meaning they make of the world around them, like pair of lenses through which you view the world. The DISC, on the other hand, tells me the emotional charge behind someone's behavioral style. If they are intense or passive, optimistic or pessimistic, fast-paced or slow to change, detailed, analytical, or stubborn and rebellious. There are over 3,000 different psychometric assessments, often known as personality tests, and my go-to are the DISC combined with the motivators. And I can bring this up in screen share examples if you want to see, but let me continue my word-for-word read. We're almost done here. Selling to an analytical person requires a different approach than selling to a persuasive person. Selling to a direct person is different than selling to a supportive person. Selling to someone that wants to control the conversation is different than selling to someone that wants a traditional and informative experience. Being able to read behavioral motivators and styles combined with an ability to adapt your own instinctual style to match the style of the prospect will lead to more sales. So it's 2 things, Charlie. We're going to maybe make something out of this. It's being able to read and all the wordy stuff there, right at the end there. Do you see it at the bottom? Being able to read behavioral motivators and styles. But forget that. Being able to read ... combined with an ability to adapt. And then fill in the blank, it could apply to so many things, right? Fill in your blanks. Read and adapt, read and adapt, read and adapt. So it's not just in sales with behavioral styles and motivators, but it's like situational awareness. It's like traffic, it's driving, it's right, how to conduct a networking event. Read and adapt, read and adapt. So that's a Klubi snack that can apply in many contexts. It's just we're getting a little peek at it, right, Charlie? If you're taking notes and capturing Klubi snacks. So I got a lot to do. I've read the word for word. I've got a lot to do tonight with the attendees that are on board. My goodness, let me just first of all say thank you so much. I've introduced Suraj. Suraj is somebody that I met through Vipul's world, and he wants to be a coach, wants to get a coach, just shopping for coaches, and met with Vipul and I, knows that the 1 + 1 = 3 is what he's looking for. So he's a part of the community now, and we're going to see him in group mentoring. You're going to get the email tonight about what the schedule is for October. So it's kind of cool. Group mentoring is more intimate. It's get a clue. It's all about my coaching and leadership training. Tonight is free. It's open-ended. Anybody can join. Sunday nights, it's geared towards the book. In group mentoring, it's geared towards the vertebrae of content, engagement, motivation, and accountability that makes up the leadership training. Patty, oh boy, let me tip my hat to Patty. You guys, Patty wrote, Patty wrote what's on the back of the second edition. I just wanted to make sure I had the right thing in my hands, Patty. Patty is like America's big sister. You know what I mean? Like,
yes, you need a big sister. Here I am.
Yeah, just amazingly supportive, super intelligent. She's so consistent about your participation in the first edition of the book that when I was writing the second edition, I want to honor you. Now, let me honor Charlie real quick. I could screen share in the whole thing, but let me tell you guys, Charlie, earlier this week, I get the days confused, excuse me, but Charlie just sent me an email with a Microsoft Word document with all of the Klubi snacks that he's written down for like a year. Like, yeah. I'm almost, I'm tempted to bring it up and pull it up. Now it needs some cleaning and editing, you know, and I can imagine Charlie. I got this picture of Charlie like reading his, what the fuck am I saying? Trying to read his own writing. And anyway, but it's the basis of another book. It's got to be. Charlie, I can't thank you enough for that effort, that summary. As they come at me, one at a time, and, it's just natural in the groove. And then you see them all in one spot. And I was floored. So thank you. I want to honor what you've done and do something with it. So we're on to something. Josiah, I mentioned when you came on board at the outset, I have such admiration for your free spirit and for your penchant for experience seeking and your fearlessness in the vulnerabilities you embrace and the way you dance through life. Everybody should be that lucky to feel that free in their spirit and that magnetic. So thank you for coming on board. I can't wait to see what kind of color you add. T-Bone, there's no me without you. I just, you just don't get here without a rock or without a rock solid dude in your life. And you've supported me in so many ways, from the laughter to the hard conversations to proofreading and detailing my stuff out, to chilling me out, to sharing your beautiful family with me. And we can go on and on and on. So I want to say thank you to those of you that are here. And now I want to open it up. You guys can open up your microphones. You can ask me anything you want. You can comment on what you want. We don't have to stick to DISC and Motivators, although I'm ready to. If you guys have questions about DISC and Motivators or anything else in the sales section or anything else you guys want to talk about, it's Sunday night. We're feeling all right. I don't care that Tom Brady is about to go in there and do it to Belichick at New England. I'm here with you guys. All right. Here we go. I don't even know. Last time I saw, New England was up by 1 point and Mac Jones looked like Tom Brady to me. I don't know. Anyway, what are we talking about tonight, guys? Open up your microphones. Welcome to Get a Clue in 52. Who wants to start? Anybody? Not all at once. You guys don't have to do this all at once.
I'll jump in. Hey, Jeff.
Any questions? Comments? Josiah.
Question.
Can't hear you, man. I can't hear you.
You can't hear me. You can't hear me? Strange.
We can hear Josh.
You're not muted, but I can't hear you. So I thought maybe you'd be ready to say something. Charlie, what do you got? Charlie?
We could hear him.
I can hear. I was saying we can hear Josh.
I cannot hear you.
Well, it must be on your end.
Maybe it's me.
Yeah, I can hear everyone as well.
Okay, good. Go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, weird. I had to turn on my headset. There we go.
All right, cool.
Okay. So my question is around, you spoke about calls to action and ways to have multiple calls to action, which is great. In my world, I'm still gaining traction as a coach, as someone who puts content out there, who creates content. Okay. So for someone starting out, what would be some really easy ways to create value at different levels for those people that may be in the more 2 category than those who may be ready to jump all in with, your high level VIP programs?
God, it's a good question, right? I kind of want to pick apart the mindset piece first. Does it have to be for somebody starting out? And do you really see yourself that way, first of all? Do you really think, quote, just starting out?
I mean, empirically, yes. Okay.
And like when you're in the sales process, selling whatever it is you have to offer, is that what you communicate? Are you like upfront, honest? Do you share that? Is that part of the sales process? I'm just starting out. You're going to be one of my very first clients?
No.
Okay. So get it out of your head now too.
Okay.
You know what I mean? You're not. You've been in the game for years.
Fair.
Okay. All right. So follow. That's the mindset piece. You follow. Can we get that one out of the way first? I don't like to build a mansion on quicksand. Charlie?
Write it down.
Charlie? I don't like to build a mansion on quicksand. So let's start with the mental piece first. Like let's hear the language that you're using. For somebody just starting out, well, we got to get you congruent, first of all. Nobody's going to, right? If you're believing in your head that you're just starting out, but you're trying to show your clients that you've been in the game for a while, it's not going to jive. So either tell your clients you're just starting out and ask them what would be of value to them, and that would be the easiest way to get a nice call to action, right? And I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about in a minute, right? Or you have to understand, right? You have to have 100% confidence in yourself, regardless of where you at. You know what I mean? Like, you understand? You got to find that confidence when you're doing the pricing game and the creating your menu and creating different. There's 99-cent part of the menu and $1.49 part of the menu, right? You got to do all of that with confidence. You have to know that whatever they get from you, even if it's from free, they're going to get more value than what they paid for it, right?
Absolutely.
And so that's the thing, right? That's the key thing. Forget the numbers for a second, right? 99, 49, 149, 249, 549, 799, 797, 997. Forget those numbers for a minute. Thank you, Patty. Right? The number one thing that I want you to consider when you're creating calls to action is that the person will get more value out of it than what they're paying for it. Like, I have no problems promoting this book because I know it's worth more than $20. Make sense?
It's worth at least $52.
Yeah. So then another approach, okay, is I would say a categorical approach. If your practice, you said coaching, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if your practice was a restaurant and your prospect came into your restaurant, would you say, what do you have? I'll make it for you right away. Or would you have a menu that you would serve them that is predetermined? Do you have predetermined things on your menu, or do you just make it up for the client in the moment?
They're preset.
Okay. So try to figure out, like, look at each thing and figure out what's the little pink spoon of that. Now, when I say little pink spoon, Charlie, are you with me? When I say little pink spoon, you know what I'm talking about, Josiah. What's the little pink spoon? Baskin Robbins, 31 flavors.
Right.
Right? They don't just have one pink spoon. There's a bucket of like 200 pink spoons in there. I mean, pre-COVID. I don't know what they're doing now. Right? But my point is, they know that if you get a really good free taste, you're going to be so pleased with the free taste. They're inducing reciprocity and also risk-free trialability. I'll say it again. They're inducing reciprocity and providing risk-free trialability. They know you're going to buy. Have you ever gone into Baskin Robbins, got a little pink spoonful of ice cream and left without buying ice cream? I mean, unless you were like a teenage punk, you know what I mean?
I've never gone to any ice cream shop and not left.
Right. Yeah, me too. I'm a recovering
not
ice
done
cream
that.
alcoholic. Yeah, I've got an ice cream problem. Like, totally. Right. So you understand what I'm getting
Not
at.
even recovering. I'm just there.
Yeah, you're just there. First step is admitting it. My point is, there's a couple of, with all the fun we're having, there's a couple of key things that I want you to understand. One, are they going to get more value out of it than what they're paying for it, even if it's free? Two, is it a little pink spoon? The pebble has all the same properties as the mountain it falls from. What's the pebble version of the stuff on your menu? What's the little pink spoon? What's the risk-free trial? Right. And I'm not answering I'm not answering these questions for you, but I know that you've got answers to them, or we'll come up with.
Charlie already write that one down about the pebble having the same properties as the mountain from which it came, because that needs to be in there too.
It's a pretty good one.
That's really good.
Well, normally I'm using that when I'm speaking about the divinity that rests inside of all human beings, right? And we shouldn't shy away from that. We need to be responsible because we're made up of all the same qualities of everything else that's in. Anyway, I digress, but it works for sales too.
You got to cut back on the ayahuasca, man. What the heck?
No, hey, listen, man, I'm just trying to keep it light on a Sunday night, but we're having fun, right?
Love it.
All right. Are those some good enough answers to your question where we can come back to it if we need to, but let's see what other people may want to ask or share?
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah. You see the good things in there, right? Risk-free trialability, induced reciprocity, little pink spoon, same properties as pebble, more value than what they paid. Those are a bunch of answers to your question. You with me?
Yep. Right.
Anybody else? We're doing Get a Klu in 52. That's right. And Sunday night, we've got Siraj, Patty, Charlie, all the way from South Africa. Josiah, where are you? Are you in Texas or Florida? Where are you at these days?
I'm currently in El Paso, Texas.
It's like, okay. And T-Bone in Santa Clarita Valley. Any fires going on up there, T-Bone, or is it safe for now?
Nope, safe for now. We're good.
Okay, cool. Safe for now. All right. Who else has a question or a comment or a joke or anything for tonight, Sunday night? Tonight's tip was about behavioral assessments and being able to read somebody's behavioral style and adapt your communication to what you're reading, and being able to have either different versions of your presentation or things that appeal to all behavioral styles sprinkled into every presentation. But you don't have to talk about tonight's tip.
Okay, so that's a good question.
Let's hear it.
Okay, so if you're having trouble diagnosing someone, then you need to have the broader appeal where you could be addressing different types of people, as opposed to if you dialed in on who they are, then you can use the appeal that you know ought to match what you've diagnosed.
Yeah. So,
right?
Question?
Well, my question,
I'm not ready.
Well, when I started talking, I thought the question was going to be which was more
right there. It was right there on the.
But I answered it while I was asking it.
That's fine. Listen, let me tell you something. Let me address the comment then. Okay. Number one, I don't ever really feel dialed in until I actually conduct the actual assessment. You follow? I won't believe I'm dialed in. Me. I think I'm dealing with a D here, or I think I'm dealing with a high I. Or right. You know what? Wow, this person might be a DI combo. And even if I have a strong feeling about where they are on the disc, I'm like, oh God, is this person political or are they independent or political? Sometimes it's hard to tell what's the true motivator for that type of freedom and control of one's life. Is this person, are they altruistic or are they economic? I'm not sure yet. You know what I'm saying? So without actually conducting the behavioral assessment, I won't feel like I'm dialed in. So I lean towards either making sure during my interactions with prospects that I'm dropping some numbers and I'm dropping some system, and that I'm doing analogy and metaphor and visualization as well. I try to go left and right.
Okay, thank you. That sort of answered what that addressed what I was thinking about for sure. Yeah. Thank you.
Moreover, if I have to, I'll just ask. Something like this. Right now, are you more interested in me telling you a story about how this has worked for somebody, or are you interested in me showing you the system of how it'll work for you? Did you hear what I just said?
Yes.
So now I appeal to both, right? You want the story of how it worked for somebody else? Let me tell you the story about this guy named John Doe. Or do you want me to tell you the 8 steps that I'm going to take you through when you hire me? So you'll know exactly where we're going, right? Do you want to imagine or do you want to know, right? So I'm appealing to an I or a C if I do that. Does that make sense? Now, if you combined, as Charlie likes to do, string the pearls, as Charlie likes to do, Josiah, say, hey, why not get some ice cream right now? Love it, man. That's so great. If you like to string the pearls like Charlie likes to do and see the interaction or the integrity of all the tips and how they all interact with each other, then when I'm building rapport, I'm starting to diagnose. And when I'm diagnosing, I'm continuing to diagnose. When I get agreement, I'm diagnosing further. And when I try to get leverage, I'm diagnosing even more. So I will arrive at some degree of certainty about who I'm dealing with, who I'm talking to, and what they are going to need to see from me or hear from me in order to feel confident moving forward. But I don't always get it right. I'm a human being. And I never assume that I know exactly what's going on with somebody. Just because I assessed them doesn't mean that they haven't manipulated the instrument or they weren't stressed when they were taking it, or they, you know what I mean?
It's changed in some way, right?
Yeah, there is a degree of reliability in the assessments, but you still can't, treat it as gospel per se. Okay, so does that address your Okay, wonderful. So we're doing Get a Clue in 52. Tonight was tip number 40 overall. It's number 8 in the sales section. The tip specifically is about reading and adapting to behavioral styles. I conduct behavioral assessments on everybody that becomes a new client, except Siraj. Siraj had just gotten the disc and motivators done elsewhere before he came on board. So I don't have to charge you extra money to do a new assessment, but we might want to open up and screen share and look at your results and have a debrief done. Because there's a lot of places out there where you can get your assessment done, but that doesn't mean you've got a world-class coach looking at your graphs with you and helping you do that SWOT analysis: strengths, weakness, opportunity, threat. Here's what this means, right? Here's what in other words, this is what I take people through when I'm doing assessment debriefs. I make sure we know what's being measured. Then what are your measures? Now, what does that mean as strength, weakness, opportunity, or threat based on the goals I know you're pursuing? Normally, I've already done 2 comp sessions with somebody before I ever have to do assessments on them. Normally, assessments are part of an intake process, and I've already gotten an idea of what they want prior. So by the time the assessments come along, I'll say, hey, remember we talked about this, this, and this? Well, can't you see it? And then we see their life through the graphs. And it becomes a really valuable experience, which you're in store for that, Siraj. And if anybody else is interested in getting behavioral assessments done, I normally charge like $500 for it, the combination of the reports and my time. But let me just throw a a Get a Clue in 52 special out there. Anybody can get behavioral assessments plus a 90-minute debrief with me for half off if you mention Get a Clue in 52. All right, there it is. I've said it. All right. Next question. Next comment, next question.
What's your favorite ice cream?
Whichever one I'm eating. Next question. No, you really want, I like black cherry. I like the caramels. I like pistachio. I like pecan praline. I'm not a big chocolate guy, but no ice cream is safe in my house.
Ice cream and whiteboards.
Oh, whiteboards are not, there it is. Ice cream is kind of like whiteboards, not safe when I'm around. That's pretty funny. All right. Who else has a comment or a question on Get a Clue in 52? We're 37 minutes into tip number 40 tonight, which is number 8 in the sales section. We've got a nice little, 5-pack. Siraj, Patty, Charlie, Josiah, and Dr. T-Bone. What a treat tonight. Who else has a comment or a question or a joke, anything, right? You don't have to talk about tonight's tip. Talk about anything you think I can help with.
When Josiah was asking you about beginner, like how he was doing his mindset on a new coach, what have you found is the best way for you to get into the zone, as in I am capable of coaching these people? Or how do you choose between I'm going to admit to them that I'm a new coach and I'm learning and you're one of my first clients, between I have a lot of confidence and I know what I'm doing and I can coach you accordingly?
Well, first, God, wow, that's great. I mean, there's so many answers to what you just prompted there. Ready? The very first time I'm going to quote, and by the way, I got to correct some of the language, not for you, but for me, just to make the language more comfortable for me, right? First of all, you say, what's the best way? That assumes that there is only one best way, and I don't agree with that. So you say, what are some of the ways? Make sense? So we don't want to be absolute in our thinking. We want to be pluralistic, or everything's multi-determined. Charlie, you do have the one in the list. You already have that one in your list. I saw it. I read it the other day. Everything is multi-determined according to Coach Jeffrey. So instead of saying what is the best way, because subconsciously that means that somewhere in your mind you believe there's only one way, and that's not true. Now, having said that, I'll tell you some of the things that I do. Right? If admit. I'm not going to use the word admit. Right? When am I? I'm not guilty. If I say admit, right, then now my vibrations and I'm guilty of something, which is imposter syndrome. And you're going to need to get rid of that. You understand? So I don't admit. I answer honestly when somebody asks me. Somebody says, how long have you been a coach? I tell them, since the late 50s. Oh, wait, did you ask how long I've been married? Sorry, marriage joke. All right. Patty, that's funny. How long have you been married? Since the late 50s? Never mind. I'm not going to try to beat it up. Some jokes you only tell once. All right. I digress. But so there's things that you can do, right? for a while when I was in where, the period of time that Josiah is kind of trying to describe, or where I think you're at now, right? People say, how long you been a coach? And say, well, for money, like coaching for money, the first money I earned as a coach was in 2007. But the first time I saw myself as a coach was when I was hogging the phone and we only had one phone line in the house. And my mom wrote this Post-it note and slid it under my nose. And it said, the doctor is, and there was a box for in and a box for out. And she put the check mark in, and I looked at her and
You're frozen, Coach Jeff.
We got a man down.
Ish.
Well, we know his mom checked the doctor's inbox. I've heard that story before.
Maybe he's still streaming over on Facebook. We should migrate over there.
Is
It's
he
the
on-
ice cream that's frozen him up, but Josh, you're blaming it on the ice cream, Josh.
It's the ice cream. Yeah, his Zoom got a brain freeze.
Now
Hey, now he's gone.
He'll be back.
What kind of ice cream are you eating, Josiah?
This is a Tillamook ice cream. It is some kind of berry pie. Ooh, Jeff's back.
You're muted.
You're
Jeff.
muted.
Hey, welcome, Coach Jeff.
all right, there we go. I'm back now. You guys ready?
Ready.
Okay, so I don't know. That's weird. I don't know why that's never happened before, unless I was like driving, which I've done get a Klu in 52 driving before on the way back from Arizona, and we lost signal. But anyway, so what was I talking about right there? I was talking when I froze.
The Post-it note and hugging the phone.
Oh yeah. So just, basically I say, hey, I've been coaching for money. The first person to ever pay me for coaching was in 2007, but I've seen myself, I've had the identity, the vibration of a coach for a long time. I just didn't have the structure and the monetization behind it that I've had since 2007. So if they ask how long you've been a coach, you need to have an answer for that. You're going to get an answer for that. Right? So you could say, well, I've been into personal professional development for years. I've been studying to be a coach for many, many years. Only recently have I gotten my own coach, and I'm learning how to offer coaching in exchange for money. So I'm very, very, very new at this. That's why my fees, if you decide to hire me, aren't going to be, right? And I used to do that. So let me give you another answer, Suraj, right? When I first started coaching, I would coach for, I remember this is what my offer was to people: an hour a week, $500 a month. And those are my first handful of clients. That's what it was. I had to get better before I realized, well, I could do it different ways. And the way I enroll people in coaching now is way more customized, right? But I thought that was pretty cool. I'm like, oh, $125 an hour. If I fill up 2,000 hours a year of that, I'll be doing really well. And then I learned more about the business of coaching, which is different than the sales of coaching, which is different than the delivery of coaching, all of which you're about to learn, right? Right? So, the number one, you got to be honest at all times. If you lose the client, so what? You can't lie to a client, fake it with a client just to get the client. In coaching especially, it's all about the client, not about you. And that's why though, being in a community, the way that you're in, the way that you're going to see this when you get into Klu and other coaches like Patty's in the group mentoring, you're going to be able to do practice and test coaching with people that are studying the same stuff you are, right? So now, like maybe you've never earned money as a coach, but at some point you're going to say, oh, well, I've done dozens of sessions now. You hear that? I've done handfuls of sessions with people that are trained in the same methodology I'm learning, and I'm ready to, build my practice. Make sense? Right? So you could say, you can make it fun if you really want to, if you really have your tail in your legs about this. Say, like, when's the context, right? Let's say it's a complimentary coaching session or the first of 2 comp sessions. Suraj, are you still with me? And you know, like what I train is the very first thing that you do is solicit their questions, right? Hey, listen, I want this to be valuable. I got to ask you a bunch of stuff in order so that it's valuable. Before I do, I want to know what your questions are. And they say, yeah, how long have you been a coach? And I'll say, okay, let me write that down. At the end of our complimentary session today, I want you to ask me again, because based on the experience you have with me today, I can't wait to know if you think I'm just starting out or if you think I've been doing this forever. I want to give you the experience, and ask me again at the end of the session, will you? What's your next question? See what I just did there? Now I'm thinking on my feet, and now maybe the person's like, hey, this guy's dodging the question. Well, maybe I am, but I care more about giving you value than how long I've been doing this. If you're going to dismiss this and blow me off because, you know, this is the first, we can just end it now. Can I just put that to the side and make sure that you get a chance to ask me again at the end of the session? Let's not let get anything in the way of me giving you value today. And if I told you you're the first person I've ever coached, you might not be open to the coaching that you need today. Now you're not, right? And you're right. You've already got, I know you've coached at least one, Siraj, right? And just, I know you coached more than one, right? But you understand, I'm trying to give you, understand the creativity. Get away from best, get away from absolutes, get away from tail between your legs, get into honesty, get into creativity, get into fun, and make sure you're focused on nothing other than giving that person value. This is the main thing you have to understand as an upcoming coach. It's not about you. It's not about how long you've been doing it. It's about whether or not you give that person value. It's whether that you help that person see something they couldn't see, feel something they couldn't feel, know something they didn't know, do something they weren't doing. It's not about you. It's about that. So if you keep that in mind, what you'll need to do in the moment will come to you if you have these principles guiding you, and then experience. Is that a fair answer to a fair set of answers to your question?
Yes, that was helpful. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, this is really, really, really robust installment of Get a Clue in 52 on a Sunday night. Tip number 40 overall, tip number 8 in the sales section. I'm joined by Siraj, Josiah, Patty, Charlie, all the way from South Africa. It's Monday morning for Charlie, and Dr. T-Bone, my best friend on this planet, other than my wife, of course. And anybody else have a comment, a question, anything that we can kick around?
Hey, welcome. Number one, evening, everyone. Morning for me here, and welcome, Dr. T. It's good to see. We're always hearing about you from Coach Jeff, and also the dedication he has in the book about you. So, you know, it's an honor to meet you. Yeah, today's session is pretty robust, as we say. I've had these, you know, the advices you are giving now, Coach Jeff. It's through learning and being on sessions like these that I get to know what I need to do in any of the situations. And I thank you very much for doing that. Josh, slow down on the ice cream.
Inhaled.
Thank you very much. And I'll give over to Coach to Dr. T.
Dr. T, do you have anything? Or Patty, do you have anything? And by the way, Dr. T is here. Once we finish out the session, he's just going to stay on the Zoom with me tonight, and he's going to give me feedback on the book that I'm working on right now, which is The Integrity Game. So Dr. T-Bone told me earlier today that he was going to read the first 5 chapters, the draft, and give me feedback on where it's at. And so he's like, hey, I'll check out your Sunday night thing and I'll stay on with you and we'll talk about it. So if you want to talk about it and give some feedback on it now, I don't mind. It'll preview to everybody the book that I'm working on. We're working on the 6th chapter now, but T-Bone, you just read the 5th, right? The 5th chapter? You'd already read the first 4, I believe.
Yeah, I just got through the 5th chapter. Looking forward to some more.
Okay, that's a good sign.
You're getting there. We need to tighten it. We need to tighten it up a little bit, but you're getting there.
Okay, very good. So let's do a reset. We're in Get a Clue in 52. This is the 2nd edition of this book. There is a preview chapter in this book for the Integrity Game. So the book that I'm working on right now The draft of chapter 1 is in Get a Clue in 52. So if you're interested in what T-Bone and I are going to talk about once the sessions ends, which is the whole book, the integrity game, let me know. We'll put you on a list to make sure that you can get an advanced copy or however it gets marketed. And it's something I'm really excited about. I believe the integrity game is a comprehensive approach to personal and professional growth. And for so long, I've marketed myself as Get a Clue, Get a Clue, Get a Clue, and the Get a Clue coaches training, and the Get a Clue this, and the Get a Clue that. And it's been fine and dandy. It got me here, but it's not going to get me where I'm really going. The integrity game will. The integrity game is a much better brand. It's way easier to connect with. It's powerful. It's all encompassing. It's freedom within a framework. And I got to get the book written, which serves as vertebrae for the integrity game workshops, the integrity game soft skills trainings, the integrity game coaching and leadership training, and all the different ways that people can play the game, peer advisory and everything else. So the integrity game is going to be the vertebrae, the spine of my menu. Josiah, back to the concept of menu. Welcome to the integrity game. What are you having? Having said that, let me go ahead and do last call then for comments, questions, for Get a Clue in 52, tonight's installment of Get a Clue in 52. Thanks to anybody that was watching on the Facebook side. And for those of you that have joined me on Zoom to make this as robust as it's been, my hat is off to you. My gratitude is deep and my love is even deeper for you. I love you guys so much. You could be doing a lot of things on a Sunday night or a Monday morning. So to be here with me means a lot to me. It's not something I take for granted. Having said all of that, last call for comments, questions.
So I just
Patty?
have to give you, I think, a Kubi snack that I don't think we've given over the air.
Good. Let's hear it. This emerged from the group mentoring, correct? Earlier in the week.
Well, I put my little Post-it notes around, so I don't know when it came from.
Okay.
But you said this, I believe. There is no such thing as a know-it-all. Mm-hmm. Just a person afraid to learn.
That is correct. I did say that. There's no such thing as a know-it-all, just somebody who's afraid to learn.
So that's my addition.
I see you, Josiah. That's a good one, right? I like that. Thank you, Patty. I mean, and by the way, I express my gratitude all the time, but I really don't take it for granted. I really am super, super, super grateful that you will write down on your Post-it notes the things that emerge organically in these sessions. It's wonderful to have documentation to capture these magical phrases that I can't run from how good that stuff is. You know what I mean? And I thank you for putting that down. And I think we're onto something. Charlie, please continue to do the work of accumulating and adding to the corpus, the body of them, and we'll clean them up and we'll reorganize them and we'll elaborate on them. We'll come up with the stories that prove those points. We've got a book in the making, and I promise you that when the Kluby Snacks book comes out, you'll have a credit in there as a contributor. So keep it up, and I don't take it for granted that you guys are writing these things down and helping me, build towards a real true production. So thank you. All right, last call. Get a Clue in 52, tip number 40, tip number 8 in the sales section. 2 more tips in sales before we move to the land of accountability. Anything else for tonight? No. All right, so let's go ahead. Does everybody whoever has their copy?
Other than thank you, Coach Jeff, we don't have anything else.
All right. Whoever has your copy of the book, we always like to seal this thing with a kiss. Here we go. Charlie's got the first edition. Look at that. Here, you're gonna tap the ice cream. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Mwah. Oh yeah. Mwah. Love you guys. T-Bone, if you don't mind staying on with me, I'll stop the recording. Thanks, everyone. Good night for Get a Clue in 52.
Night. Have a great week, everyone.
Thanks, Charlie.
Cheers, everyone.
Good night, Josiah. Thanks. All right. What's up, man? Add to your post, check in, bring a friend. Let me get off this. I must have done it. I must have gone live. Done. Get out. Camera controls done. I might not have gone live that whole time. Oh well. Okay. What's up, man? How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm excited. I'm warm. That was fun. That was a sweet jam. I thought that was a good one.
Yeah, it was cool.
I didn't expect Josiah. Siraj is a new guy I'm mentoring with work I'm doing with Vipo. I had forgotten until you showed up that you said you were going to. I'd forgotten, and there you were. I'm like, oh man,
Right.
And Patty and Charlie are usually the only ones on, and I got lucky. I had 3 others tonight. So it was fun.
Yeah,
Good
yeah, it was
Q&A.
good.
Yeah. So what else, man? How's everything going with you?
Good. They work's going well. I think I did okay in that test that I had to take to become permanent. So assuming that all goes okay, I think they're going to hire me. So they said the interview is just a formality at this point. So
That's cool. Really cool.
yeah.
That means that they already know you and they like you. You're a known quantity. You just need more cred to get the more certainty, right? The better.
Yeah. It's just it's all the hoops you gotta jump through to deal with the school district. But it's going good. So it's been good. Can't complain.
Awesome. Well,
yeah. So I read the book. I read the chapter. I actually haven't. I wanted to get on. I didn't. I got to page 46. So I still actually have a few more. It looks like it goes up to 51. So I got about 5 pages still. I got up to 46.
Yeah. So let's start big and get to specific. Like generally speaking, what do you think?
It's good. I like it. There's really, I don't really have too many, bones to pick. I think it's. I'm just looking at it right now. I think